Hey guys, TCGLover here. Right at this moment I'm making this video. I'm right in the middle of my exams actually, so I try not to make this one too long. But yeah, so this video is basically to say that in 10 days time the new structure deck Samurai Warlords will be released, and a flurry of samurai swords will come into this TCG again and try and make its mark. Because at this point it's a tier 2 deck, and not many players are really using it since they really butchered it in the ban list. I mean, they gave them smoke signal again, but it didn't really do anything, unfortunately. So yeah, in the structure deck, we know now what the full spoiler list is, and as I'm looking at it right now, it's got some pretty stupid cards in there. It's got stuff like Chamberlain, the Sixth Samurai. It's got Future Samurai, the Immortal Bushi. Shien's Daredevil. I mean, cards that you just not use. I mean, they have a few like Dark Hole, generic stuff like that, which is fun. But the fact is that even with their new monster, which we know now boosts its attack to only 2,000, of course you can make Kageki 3,500 beta, and with those two on the field you can do 6,000 damage, which is pretty nice. But however, the deck does not have Shien. There is no Shien. And the structure deck shows that because you do not get a Kagemusha, and you don't get asceticism, which is the most viable version of the deck right now, because everyone is running 3 Veilers, so when you did a Kageki Kagemusha into Shien, you just would never get that off. It just doesn't happen. You know, everyone's packing Veilers, everyone's packing Maxis. It's just silly. So people were going... yeah, they were doing Kagemusha and then asceticism into something else with the same attack. So it just was a much better deck, and I don't really know it too much. But the fact is that I just feel like it's not gonna work out. I think that even with this extra monster that they got, I just don't think that it's still, you can still side exactly the same cards. So I mean, you can side specific monster cards like Kinetic Soldier. Because obviously in defense mode, even, you know, it's got, when it's attacked by a warrior monster, it goes up to 3,800 defense. Because it's got 1,800 defense and it gains 2,000 attack and defense when it's attacked by a warrior. So even with Kageki boosted to 3,500, this thing survives. And this thing, even, doesn't matter what, anything can't kill this. It just stays on the field. And of course, 3 Puppet Plants, which is what I might side to actually. Yeah, this card saved me so many games when they were big last year. It's just a fantastic card, and if they do have 6 Samurai Shien, you steal this first, use this first to steal their card, and then you just start blowing up on them because you get 1 negate from this card, and you get to attack with it, so, you know, it's a perfect side. But of course you can start siding other generic stuff if you don't want to side specifically against them, because Puppet Plant doesn't really work unless you're playing against warriors or spellcasters, and spellcasters aren't doing anything, so, you know. Spirit Reaper, of course you can side that, because they don't have any cards that pierce. If they're running a Nishi, then you might have a problem, but apart from that, the card gets around the Xyz monster quite well. I'm going to be siding 2 Gozen matches, I always do, because I was running Insectors and I still run Evils, so either both of those have 1 attribute. But of course, Wind-Ups, 6 Samurais, Dino Rabbits, they all depend on different attributes. So it makes sense, because then you get a diverse range of monsters that you can counter with just these 2 cards. Or 2 copies if you want to run 2. And lastly, Compulsory. This card was one thing that people didn't like when they were faced with a Shien, because they will automatically negate it, and I don't really want my stuff negated. So, but however, if they start going into the Xyz variant, where they basically start dropping that monster in an attempt to get game with Kageki and stuff, then this card can stop them right then immediately, because then it puts Kageki back at 200. So if you if they attack and then you bounce this card while they're attacking, then their Kageki only stays at 200 until the end of the turn, and then they're stuck with a 200 beta on their field, and you just ram over it with loads of stuff, and you pretty much go for game from there. So yeah, that's pretty much what I'm going to say. I mean, I don't really understand how there's any hype regarding this deck whatsoever. I mean, okay, it's more available, for players now. I mean, you've got stuff like Naturia Beast and Barkion in the Gold Series, but apart from that, I don't really see how this deck's gonna come back. I mean, it's really, if it was any good, then pro players will be able to get hold of all the cards, hollow it out to the highest rarity, and then play it. And the deck just doesn't work. It still needs a bit more of a push. I mean, when it made the Monsters 3000, then it gave them quite a lot of oomph, so to speak, to get over monsters. I mean, against Chaos Dragons, the deck's gonna suffer. It just doesn't. It can't contend against a deck that can continuously summon ginormous monsters. You know, it just doesn't. It needs the control, and it needs to be able to negate stuff with this. This is why this card screws up Heroes, because Heroes run so many monsters and traps, spells and traps. So, you know, it just. I can't see it coming back. That's my opinion. I think it's a waste of money if you buy this structure deck, unless you plan on getting 3 of them, because then you can get stuff like multiple copies of Fiendish Chain. You get stuff like Muzakani, but they're all very easy to get hold of. I mean, the only difficult thing is Xian, and the card is a super in the special edition, so there's no problem. So really, I think it's more beneficial to buy singles if you wish to. But I have to say, because of those reprints, if you get this thing cheap and you buy 3 at once and you get it for like £25 or something, you can potentially make your money back with just a couple of cards, because Kageki's a super as well as Xian, Smoke Signal. So you can easily make back your $8 to $10 that you spent in just a few cards. It's really, really profitable if you do that. But I still wouldn't play the deck anyway. So yeah, that's my review of the set and what to side against them if you do end up encountering them. I really want to make some better videos once my exams are finished. But yeah, thanks for sticking around. Get some box openings and stuff like that. And once I'm working, I'm going to have more box openings and more stuff like that. And I'm going to have an agent deck profile once I've got all the cards for it. So yeah, that's going to be fun. So yeah, thanks for watching, guys. TCGLover out.